like, it was never here, framing was not correct, roof framing not correct, cost me another 200 grand, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that's it. So,
And that was Jada Homes that,
yeah.
uh-huh.
So I said, okay, because I never signed a contract with them. I just said, okay, I'm
Uh-huh.
right. So I'm like, okay, you're gone, right? So got my own designer and architect and stuff, and something going on with the HOA because it's like, well, who's this guy? I'm like, he's a licensed architect, right? So it wasn't their guy that they were with, right? So he started harassing me, right? Like, well, your landscape doesn't flow properly and all this one time, and this is back in December, I guess. I finally had to come out and I walked around and took pictures, probably your house, and everybody else is in here, and I wrote a report and I said, oh, after back and forth several times, I said, okay, well, explain to me in detail how these landscapings are different from what I'm planning. And from now on, I'm going to be copying this gentleman all email. It was an attorney I had, right? So sent that in. So it's like, okay, you're approved. Really? I have to go through all that?
What didn't they like about it?
Just everything. Oh, we need another window over here. Like, one time I was like, well, that window you're trying to place is right in the middle of the second floor framing. How's that going to work? Right? So it's like, are you even competent in what you're doing? Oh, well, these door frames need to be, the curve on the top is not the correct arc. So we just, instead of like one shot, here, make all these changes like piecemealing. They got on the landscaping, right? And rear landscaping, it doesn't flow right, whatever. And then you find them in a comment, well, we really don't have any authority to tell you how to do your rear landscaping, but we, I want you to know that it doesn't really, up to the same quality as local houses, right? So I was kind of basing it some on theirs, and I'm like, okay, tell me how, right? And then we did that. So finally got through them, right? And then I had to get my architect, designer, and like, okay, get all this stuff, because now the city of Buckeye wants this ton of stuff, Gosh, get all that stuff, right? Sent that in. So here comes all these red lines back, and I just like, okay, so I just started making fun. I said, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Right, I've been hassling with for a year and a half.
Right.
And so the head of the department called me, like, okay. I'm like, well, let's have a meeting. So we went over there, and I tried to explain to me why all these, codes and stuff, and they showed me. I'm like, okay. And they're like, we're here to help you and protect you because, once the plans are finalized, and if you get out there and it's not right, then the contractor's going to charge you change orders and stuff. So that's where I am.
So you're just waiting now to get everything back from the city?
Yeah. I've got my designer and architect working and the structural engineer working the final red lines. And
Good.
so I took the red lines from them and sent it to my guys and said, okay, here's how we're going to answer. I said, how will you answer that? So I sent all that stuff back to the city in a spreadsheet, and I said, okay, let me know now, right? Tell me up front before I submit and you reject. This is how we're going to answer this. So they came back with the 4 or 5s, like we need to adjust. Most of the other 61 ones were like, okay, that looks good. So
Right. It's a hassle jumping through hoops. Yeah.
So I just walked over there, took some photos over there, because I got a friend who wants to move out here, and he was looking at a lot on the other side over here for a while, and it's just them. Corey's retired, and his wife's a little younger, still working. The kids are not there. And so they don't want a real big house. So they've been watching me going through this house.
Right.
So I took some pictures, since they're now starting.
They're doing it.
Yeah, I thought I'd send to Corey and say, well, hey, you might want to look at this, because, that would be a nice area to live there. So.
Yeah. So what didn't they like about your landscape? The plants or the...
Well, too much lantana in the front yard, and,
Really?
The plans say it's a minimum of one plant per 25 square feet, right? And so I took the Maricopa County tax assessor's photos, there's the most recent, right?
Right.
Taxes, right? Well, this area, like that yard there, you can pull a square area, counted the plants, right? Made a table, summed all it up, and I said, from these 20 yards or 20 sections, whatever it was, right? Only one of them comes within the required one plant, and only it's 75%. The rest of them are like way below 30% or something. And so I said, did all my neighbors get a waiver? Did you get a waiver for that number? And if so, I want to apply for the same waiver. You know?
Yeah.
If I didn't, well, they're in non-compliance. What are you going to do about bringing them compliance since you're harassing?
Right.
Not a word.
Yeah. Well, we put in all that you were supposed to. We've got a gazillion plants,
I
but
know.
like over here, they have no plants.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
And then on the White House, the Rojo's house, the big huge house,
Uh-huh.
they're being allowed to do desert landscaping. They don't have to put the brown rock everywhere.
Yeah.
And that
See,
looks
I mean,
horrible.
Yeah.
How did they get that to fly?
I don't know because, well, is there something going on with their guys that they like? I think there's something kind of.
I tried to pull up the HOA guidelines or whatever, and it said that it was revised March of 24. So I don't.
Must have been just revised because I was.
Yeah, it was
working on
just
the other
revised. So I didn't know if maybe they revised this area for the landscape. And so that's how they got away with it? I don't know, but it doesn't match anything. I mean, it's brown rock all the way up Lost Creek until you hit their house and they get desert landscape. Yeah, so.
So you just kind of.
Yeah, they're in Cheyenne. They've had some trouble with their pool, so I told them I'd run by today and look at it real quick.
Cheyenne too, if I could.
Yeah, Bob is.
Getting all this heat.
Yeah.
Y'all doing okay?
Yeah, yep. How about you?
Yeah. Okay.
Are you still looking at a upstairs for your,
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2-story. You know, I've got.
is it a full 2-story?
No, like story. 2 bedrooms and a study upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big is the house going to be?
Oh, 3,700. Mm-hmm. You know, the minimum square foot for this area is 2,500, right? So
Oh.
like going in, target was 2,505.
Of course.
And then it just grows.
Yeah.
And one time it was up to 4,600. I said, oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Cut it back. So.
Yeah.
And that's still too big. Just me.
Yeah.
Still too big for me, but it's like, well.
What happened to the gal you were dating?
Oh, that story there, you know. We got her K1 visa to come over here, right? For 2 years doing that. She came over last May, and we're supposed to get married, right? You know. And I just think that, well, she ended up going back. So, you know, I just think it was just too much. That's just too much separation from her family.
Family, yeah.
She's never been married. Her and her mother very close. You know, she's on the phone for her mother like 2.5 hours every day. I'm like,
Oh, that's not good.
yeah, so.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's too bad. You know, she still texts me every day. Have a nice day. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah, I'm busy. You know, I'm working again remotely, so that's pretty nice. Paying me more money every May. I'm like, yeah, okay, keep that going. And
Yeah.
I do a lot of astronomy type work and stuff. So,
Cool.
yeah, so I'm
Cool.
busy. Yeah,
So who'd you say the builder is again?
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock.
Yeah, he's got an office in Litchfield Park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh. Well, good.
yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it's always